Hey guys, it's Erica here from Big Cat Creative, and today we're going to talk about the 5 things you need to have on your photography website. So I've talked a lot in the past about general website essentials and what you need to include on your website. So make sure you check out those website basics. I'll link some posts down below that are relevant. But in this particular case, we're diving into website design for photographers, what you should include, and the design essentials that are going to help you land more of those dream jobs. So let's get straight into it. Number 1, where you're located and what kind of photography you offer. I know this is a combination of 2 things, but these are equally as important as each other. Imagine your ideal client is landing on your website for the first time. What are the very first things they need to know? Where you're located and what photography you offer. These 2 points should be clear to your visitor within the first 10 seconds of landing on your website. These 2 points are going to tell them if working with you is even possible. So if you don't make this information easily accessible for them, they might just move on and look for someone else. The majority of photographers are based in one area and offer only 1 to 2 photography options. But if you're a photographer who is available to travel, or you offer literally every type of photography style, make sure that's clear too. Never assume that your website visitors know anything about you. So how do you incorporate this into your site within the first 10 seconds? My general advice for anyone building a website, not just photographers, is that the first text on your website needs to explain who you are, what you do, and who you serve. Those are good rules for photographers too, but the essentials to include are where you're located and what kind of photography you specialize in. So this should either be in the first heading or clearly in the text after the first heading, like the subheading or the first paragraph. And you should also include it wherever else it seems appropriate, like your about page and your services and packages page. So this is an awesome example that I received just yesterday from mforeverphotography.com, and she's using our Leon Squarespace template. You can see instantly that the first line is that she's a wedding and lifestyle photographer. So that instantly tells me what kind of photography she does. And if you scroll down just a tiny bit more, we have information about where she's based and that she also travels. So that instantly tells us exactly what she does and where she does it, which is going to instantly tell me if I can work with her or not. Number 2, client case studies with testimonials. Portfolios are great, but full case studies are going to really help convert your visitors into clients. Hiring a photographer isn't something one does lightly. I'm sure you already know, but photography is often a big investment, and it's also a really vulnerable and nerve-wracking experience for whoever is being photographed. Choosing the right photographer is a big decision. So of course it's likely that your client is going to be looking into all the different options. A part of the research is going to be looking at your previous images and your portfolio and making sure that your style and vibe fits with theirs. But if you really want to go the extra mile, we recommend including detailed case studies on a number of your previous photography jobs. A case study is basically a full write-up of the job and all of the details that went into it. These are great because your potential client can get a real feel for exactly how things work when they sign up with you. So your case study could include information about your research and prep for the job, onboarding details, behind the scenes of the day, a Q&A or info about the client, a client testimonial, which is always really important, and of course the final images. It might not be possible to do a write-up like this for every single job you do, as they do take quite a bit of time to put together. But even just having a few case studies on your website is going to make a huge difference to your website conversions and leave a really great impression on your potential clients. If you are using Squarespace for your photography site, I recommend using either the portfolio feature or the blog post feature to organize your portfolio case studies. Number 3 is your about page. And this is a must-have for every website, obviously, but the about page for your photography website is particularly important to get right. Like I mentioned above, photography is an intimate and vulnerable experience and can be really scary for a lot of people. So when your client is weighing up their different photographer options, a huge part of their decision is going to be how they connect and resonate with the photographer. The about page is one of the key places this connection happens, even if it's just through the images and words on your website page. Express who you are and how you're going to help them through the process. While the About page is a really great place to show your personality and give some insight into who you are, you want to be very conscious of writing from a perspective of how you serve your clients rather than writing paragraphs on paragraphs about your life story. Your visitors do want to learn about you, but they want to learn about you in a way that shows them what working with you would be like for them. Remember, your clients are potentially pretty nervous and uncomfortable with being in front of the camera, and if they can connect to the person behind the camera, it'll make them much more comfortable with the whole experience. The About page is a great place to start this connection. Number 4 is packaging and pricing details. Let's start with packages. I highly recommend creating some generic packages, as this is going to really help your potential clients get an idea of the process and deliverables before they have to even reach out to you. This doesn't mean you have to stick to these packages exactly, as every client will probably require some customizations, but it's a really great starting point and will really help your clients see what's possible. Put these on a dedicated packages or work with me page so your clients can easily see what's available and compare. Now let's talk pricing for these packages. Should you post prices on your website? We get this question a lot, and our answer is always yes. This goes for any business, not just photographers. Everyone's budget is different. Some people will be able to afford you, some won't. That's the reality. Not putting any price information on your website is only going to alienate even more people than you intend to. So when you add your packages, it's important to include pricing attached to these packages. Because photography varies so much depending on the packages or what your client needs, it's likely that you don't have any set prices realistically. So in this case, I recommend just putting a starting at price, which will at least give your clients an indication of what they need to budget. Packaging and pricing will both vary depending on the client's needs, but having a starting point for both of these on your website for clients to see, it's going to increase your conversions. It's also going to lessen the number of questions you get in your inbox, which is always a win-win. We actually have a whole post dedicated to why posting prices on your website is important, so I will link that down below too. Number 5, good design and use of photography. So we talked about case studies earlier, which are an awesome way to display photographs from your previous jobs combined with information about the projects. But now we're talking about the actual complete website design. If you know anything about us here at Big Cat Creative, you know we live and breathe beautiful web design and believe good design is one of the most important factors in landing clients via your site. We actually see this as even more important for photographers. Photography, much like design, is an art, and great photography deserves to be displayed in great web design. We don't actually have any stats on this, but I can pretty much guarantee that if your beautiful images are accompanied by a beautiful web design, the perception of your images is going to be more beautiful than if they were accompanied by an average looking site. The same goes in the opposite direction too. Great photographs can really elevate an average website design. But we already know you have the great photographs, so that's not your issue. Whether it's investing in a professional design for your website or using a professional template, it's really important to get this right. Make sure your site is professional, works well with your style of images, and of course puts your photography on display. You want to create a website that has lots of imagery and places to show off your amazing work. Though you do need to be careful about displaying your photographs on your website. Unfortunately, the more images you add to your site, the slower it loads, and if you have a very slow loading site, then Google or any search engine will punish you for that and display you lower in the search ranks. This is a huge annoyance for photographers and designers or anyone who relies on displaying lots of images on their site. But as creatives with lots of images to share, we are all in the same boat here. The best thing you can do is optimize your images for the web. This is so important and will make a huge difference to your site speed. So don't forget this step when you're building your website. We have a whole post and video about how to optimize your images before you upload them to Squarespace or any website, which will make a huge difference to your site speed. So we will link that below for you to check out. And that's a wrap. I hope you're feeling much more confident in what to include on your photography website. If you nail these 5 things, it's going to make a huge difference to your conversion rate and you'll be able to attract way more of those dream clients.